Hello, friends. I am curious how today's video is going to unfold. There's so much going on, my God, and there's just a few things that have been going around in my field here. And there are four words all starting with an M, and that is the matrix, the mirror, the mindset, and then also maturity. That's a lot for my short videos here. But there is something that I find so important about all of this as we are moving into a time where it seems to me that there's a bifurcation of the timeline into specifically two different ones, but of course there's endless ones. But they're two very obvious ones. And I have talked about this a while ago already. I have heard a number of people who are tuned into this. They talk about that this is actually we are right in it. And I would agree with that. And what I mean by that is that there is a timeline where we are going to go home to who we truly are. That's the timeline I guarantee you that I'm on and will stay on. There's nothing else for me here than to take that road or that journey back home. The other one is the one that is going to keep moving us further and further away from home. So many of us feel a deep longing to come back home. And you will know if you're one of them because you feel that you're pretty much done here. This is getting too crazy. There's too much division, too much duality, and it does not resonate with you anymore. Remember, there's nothing wrong with any of it. It's all about what we want, what we long for, what we want to create, and how we want to go about that, and also start realizing that it really is an inner job. It's not about going out there to change it like we have been trying for so long. So let's just start with the matrix. If you're on my channel, you probably are aware of what I mean by the matrix, that it's the illusion, it's the simulation, it's the mind projected world. It's like an overlay where we believe it's true and we cannot see what really is true. We believe this is true. But when you start sensing in, then you'll sense that there is something very different going on at the same time, we can say. And when we feel that longing inside for that other world, there's something in us that knows that there is something else here. And that is what is pulling us back in again after a long time moving that way. A lot of us are being pulled back in again. We're done with the matrix. We have experienced duality. We have experienced what it's like uh, to see the world as other, and therefore projecting whatever is not resolved and integrated inside of us. We project it out and believe that it is happening outside of us until we realize that it is a mirror. It is basically all the problems, the bores, the blaming, shaming, duality, suffering. These are all unintegrated parts inside that we ourselves have not fully brought back home into love, into oneness. We're still dividing ourselves inside by, to put it really simply, just by the parts that we don't like about ourselves, that we want to get rid of. that is the division. That is where we immediately go into duality. So there's me here, and then there's that thing here that I want to get rid of or that I don't like. That's where you have the division. This division is what we see in the world of the matrix because it's all happening in the mind. You can only divide in the mind. You can't, there is no division in oneness, right? That wouldn't make sense. If it's one, it's one. It can't divide it. But as a thought, as a program, we can pretend that it is. And then it seems like there is other. So the world out there is what we see as other than ourselves. And it's pretty messy out there. My invitation to come back home is definitely self love, not in a fuzzy, cozy kind of way. You can include that, sure. But I'm talking about bringing love to every single part of you that you have been trying to get rid of, fixed, hated, been ashamed of, doubted, whatever it is. That is where the division is. And as I've talked about before, too, when we get born into this dimension, we're basically born into the belief that we're not good enough. There's something wrong with us, right? And that's where the division starts. And then we start living that program, and then we see that projected out into the world. So at a certain point, as many of us are experiencing now, we're done. We don't want to live in that turmoil and that suffering and striving and hard work and loneliness and all the stuff that we all know so well. And then we can start opening up to the gift that this is a mirror. It's a mirror. It's a mirror. So hard to get that. If this is new for you, it's really hard to embrace the fact that everything that you're experiencing is a mirror of yourself. If you're fully loving yourself, you might be experiencing that love mirrored back to you. But then there's all these parts. I talked about the smear, right? We need to clear the smear. All that stuff that's still covering the mirror from fully shining, or these slides we have put into the projector. That's what we see. That's what we project out. And when we realize that's a mirror of our own unintegrated beliefs, memories, feelings, all that, then we can start turning it around for real, for very real. Because then a maturity kicks in. It's funny, there's these M's. I have not planned any of this. It's so interesting, but I'm learning as I speak. So then there is a maturity that kicks in, right? Instead of being like, oh, poor me, and it's your fault, all that kind of immature behavior that we have all been through and we may still do at times. But a maturity kicks in, and you start realizing, oh my God, that behavior from this person is actually showing me what I still believe about myself. I am not lovable, or I will never be able to be successful, or whatever it is, whatever it is. So when you have some behavior coming back to you, reflecting back, mirroring back to you from the world, then you go inside. You don't stop it here and point it back at him. No, that's not maturity. That's when you're still living in the matrix of duality. Now you're going to bring it home into oneness, that it's all you. Okay? So something happens, you pause, take a breath, you get curious about what arises in you. What is this behavior bringing up in me that is not at peace, that is not love? So then your maturity is willing and able over time to just like, ooh, let me be with that. I now realize that it has nothing to do with somebody out there. It has to do with something in here that is mirrored back to me. And because I'm more mature now, I am able and willing to be present with it or learn to be present with it. Most of this is new for most people. So you scoop it up and you learn to be present with it in a loving way. You listen to it, you allow it to be there, you stop blaming, shaming, judging, criticizing yourself, trying to fix it, analyze it. That's still part of the matrix. But now the mirror is coming back to you, to your maturity, and now you're going to learn to just be present with it because your mindset has changed. It has matured. Something in you is now aware that you were not aware of before. So that's something that's happening in the mind. And there is so much out there in the world today where you can really work on your mindset. And the more we work on the beliefs, the unresolved stuff that we still carry that lives in our bodies as contraction, as separation, as something that's, you can't be here. But that's when we still live in that mindset of the matrix of duality and separation and division that we want to get beyond. So the matrix is the mindset when it's not connected back to the heart. And that's why when we start realizing that and want to take responsibility for everything in our lives, when we start realizing that I am I am the spark inside that is shining out there and it's showing me if there are any glitches in my light. Those glitches or those that smear, that's for me to clean up because I'm mature now. I'm not the little immature whatever running around blaming the world. Then you're part of the matrix mindset. Now I'm mature. So now I'm able to see it as a mirror and then transform it from the inside out. I think this is one of the most important things we can do because in that movement where it used to be out, where now we're taking it back in for a resolution, for a dissolution of that dualistic misperception, because that's not who and what we are. So we bring it in. We're not taking that timeline out and away from ourselves anymore. We're choosing to bring it in and stay here and find out, well, who and what am I when I'm not going out there, creating a story, a drama? Who am I? What am I when I stay here? When I'm willing to let this soften and dissolve, what part of me is able to just allow it? You see, there's something inside, and we can call that a mature part of ourselves, the part that is already at one with ourselves. That is something that, of course, is bigger than the projection that we've been living, that separate sense of self. The separate sense of self is the duality. Now we're coming home. So that movement is coming back here where we are taking full responsibility and full ownership of our experience and who we are what we long for, and this is the big one, be fully willing to become that. So every time when you notice you're out there again and you think, oh my God, that's scary, I have to do this, or, then you're out there giving away your sovereignty. Then you are on that timeline that moves away. I hope today that there will be a clear distinction, like a clear cut of when we leave ourselves and when we stay home, and bring all the parts that still want to go out and blame and shame and point fingers and be afraid. We keep bringing them home, home to our heart, home to what we really want. I assume most of us here don't want that chaos and drama anymore. So we have to find a strength in us to simply say, no more. No more. And when you do that, you will feel a power, something solid in you, because that's when you're connected back to your sovereignty. Yesterday, I think it was, I talked about a relaxed confidence. That is what happens when you clearly say no to what you don't want and clearly say yes to what you do want and feel it. It's like it's an anchor. It's like solid. There's such a peace in that because you're not leaving yourself anymore. So all of yourself is home now. That's very relaxing. It's very solid. And like I said yesterday, there's a confidence in that. That's unwavering. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's like every time you say no to what you don't want, then you say yes to what is true for you. So it's that no to what's not true for you and yes to what is true for you. That's like a movement of bringing yourself home over and over and over. And in that, you're building more energy inside of you. And that makes it easier and easier to say no without fear or wavering or is it okay, right? That's going to be there in the beginning, of course. You're pulling out of like, what would that be? A momentum. You're pulling out of a momentum that's been driving us out. So it's not just so easy to stop, a tsunami. It's like it's gonna like one little wave at a time, it's like no more, no more. This is what I want. So that's when you start leaving the matrix of duality. You start realizing that it's a mirror from your mindset. And then there is a maturity that comes out because that is your maturity in yourself. You're maturing into your true self. And this is what we all long for. And when you tap into that and do it over and over again, you will know that this is the only thing that's real. That's the only thing that matters. So when you walk out the door, you're not leaving this on your meditation cushion. It's always with you because you're choosing to come back here over and over until it's so authentic and organic that you can't even imagine leaving it again. So there is some work involved, and it's saying no to what you don't want and keep saying yes to what you do want. They're both like a specific energy, and you'll find them, and they're powerful, and they're delicious actually. They're solid. They're solid because you're coming from here now, and you're leaving behind the matrix. The matrix is probably going to continue on and on for those who are not able or don't understand what it's like to go inside and take full responsibility for their life. It's a big mouthful today. I didn't quite know what was going to come out, but I resonate with it, if I can say so. And I think it's a powerful message for all of us that we need to make a daily practice of really choosing this one. So you go with that timeline, which is back home to the oneness, to what you long for, and you stop moving away on the other timeline that we have all been on for a very long time. It's time now to jump off and jump back in here. Okay, my friends, let's do that.